How can you shorten your sales cycle? I get asked this question a lot. My answer is always the same. It depends on building trust and making sure that every decision maker in the companies that you're targeting or in the industries that you're targeting understands the value of what you're trying to sell. If they don't understand their value, if they don't trust you, then it means that the sales cycle is going to be far longer. Back in the day, you'd have sales teams that will be going out building relationships with people face to face. In 2024, it's about being online. So building relationships is going to be a bit different. It's mostly about content. And so in this video, I'm going to explain how you can shorten your sales cycle through flywheel marketing. I don't have to explain why it's important to reduce your sales cycle. If you're a decision maker, if you're in a C-suite, if you're part of a multi-million-dollar company, if you're a new business owner, it's really going to come down to the same reason, which is you need cash in the bank. If you have long sales cycles, it means that you don't have the money, which means that you can't hire better staff, you can't get better equipment, you can't offer a better service. You need to be able to shorten your sales cycle so that you can boost your revenue. By boosting your revenue, it maximizes the value of your company. If you're looking to exit, you're looking to sell it, or you're looking to do something along those lines. So we want to get cash in the bank, but the problem is, especially in the B2B and enterprise space, sales cycles can take 6 to 12 months, maybe even longer, before anyone closes a deal. And this is on average. And the reason for this is because there's lots of decision makers that you have to convince that your service is the best thing for them and that it's going to help them in their position. It's going to bring some value and some benefit in their life. And that's very hard to do if you don't have any content. And so that can affect your revenue, it can affect your growth goals. So you need a solution now that's going to be able to shorten your sales cycle so that you can get cash in the bank, grow your business, hire the best talent, get the best equipment, etc. And so that solution is content, because you need to build trust with the decision makers in the companies that you're targeting or in the industries that you're targeting or working within. Video content is the best way to do that. It's the best way to build trust by far compared to any written content, because people get to know, like, and trust you over time. If you record a video with you on camera, just like I'm doing now, even if it's a screen recording, your ideal clients, the people that you're trying to sell to, get to know you, they get to like you, they get to trust you over time. And video content is one of the best ways for you to help people visualize how your services can benefit them. Because services are invisible, they're intangible, so you need to be able to demonstrate this to people. Most people will prefer to watch a movie than read a book. So that's why video content is so powerful these days. Now, you establish trust by creating video content that helps you build an audience and that builds social proof. If you just create blog articles all day long and you post them on your website, sure, you're going to get a lot of SEO, search traffic. But if you create video content, you can actually build an audience. So people can see the audience that you've built. So if they do a Google search and your social media profiles pop up, they can click those profiles and they're going to see that you've got a big audience, you've got a lot of likes, you've got a lot of subscribers. It establishes a level of social proof and trust, because there's a lot of companies out there that give off false promises, and there's a lot of scammers out there. So an audience helps you eliminate that thought from your ideal customers' minds. And you need to have this trust, especially if you're looking to close bigger deals. It's okay if you're trying to close a $1,000, $2,000 deal, but when you start looking at big 5, 6, and 7-figure deals on the enterprise level and beyond, you have to establish trust with each individual decision maker throughout the C-suite. And the video content you create around your services has to demonstrate very clearly to them how your services benefit them personally in the positions that they are in. The best way to do this is to create content at every stage of the buyer journey. If you simply send direct messages to people in a decision-making capacity and have nothing to back up what you're saying, then you're essentially just spamming people. It's the same if you're emailing people, if you're emailing decision makers and you have no content to back up what you're saying. This is why it's so important to create content that people can find at every level of their buyer journey. Right from when they first know that they've got a problem and they're looking for some kind of solution, through to the end when they've done all their research and all the different opportunities and offers to them. You want to show up at each stage so that they consume your content, which means by the time that they get to the end of that path, they've already made the decision in their head that you are the authority in your industry and in your space, and that you have the best service or the best solution for what they're experiencing. Now, I can talk about funnels all day long, top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom of funnel. Depending on who you speak to, there's even more sections to it. But essentially what you want to do is create content that aligns at those 3 steps. And you have to be present throughout that journey. So when they're doing their research, when they first know that they have a problem, you want to be showing up. You want to be helping them identify different options, different solutions that might be able to solve their problem on their own, but also hold their hand in case they are going to make a mistake or in case they need some additional help. This is where people get it wrong. They simply create video content or content generally that positions them as the best. But buyers are a lot more savvy these days. Most of the time, a buyer wants to be able to solve the problem on their own. So if you can help buyers solve small problems on their own, they're going to be able to trust you over time. They might actually be able to solve some of those smaller problems until they get to a much bigger one, and then they're going to reach out to you because you've helped them solve those smaller ones. And so they're going to want you to help them solve the much bigger one. This is how businesses are really built, solving the bigger problems and helping your ideal customers solve the smaller ones along the journey. And the only way to do that is to be consistent with your content. If you only create blog articles and post them on your website, you might get a lot of search traffic, especially if you're consistent with creating those articles. But the problem with that is that you don't necessarily know how much of those blog articles are being read, which are the most valuable points within the article, and things like that. Those little nuances. You might know how much traffic you're getting, but you don't really know how much of the articles are being read. This is why video content is so much better, because you can actually see when people drop off at different points of the video. So as you're being consistent with creating video content, you can improve the quality over time. Why do people drop off 10 seconds into every video that we make? Let's figure out what the problem is and let's address it. This is one of the biggest benefits of creating video content, because you actually get the stats to help you grow and to improve things, unlike any other content medium. Now, when you post content consistently, especially video content, it keeps you top of mind. So a sales cycle is typically long because you've spoken or introduced yourself to a decision maker at the very beginning of their buyer journey. And so the sales cycle will take 6 to 12 months, maybe even longer, because it takes that much time to do research. They want to make sure that they are making the right decision, especially if they're going to be judged on that decision. So when you measure your sales cycle, it's because you're measuring it from the very beginning when you first approached a decision maker. Now they are aware of your company. But if you create content and you publish that content in all the right places over a long period of time and you're consistent with it, most of the time you're going to find that people will come to you ready to buy, and you've never spoken to them or heard from them in the past. It's the first time you've heard of them, but they've come to you because they've consumed your content over the last 6 to 12 months during that research phase. You want to be the business or the service provider that has the content showing up across the internet throughout that journey before you ever reach out to that particular decision maker. This enables you to accelerate sales. So at least in terms of measuring the sales cycle, it's going to look like it's been reduced over time, because you can only measure it based on when you reach out to that person initially and how often you and your sales team follow up over a long period of time. But if you create content, especially sales content, that your ideal customers can find naturally on their own, they're going to feel like they've come to the decision to buy from you naturally. But the reason why they came to that decision is because you subtly created content that shows up in the right places at the right times during their buyer journey. Now let's say that you do reach out to an ideal customer early on in the buyer cycle. The way for you to shorten that sales cycle is to create video content that answers common questions and to deliver it to those decision makers throughout that journey. So instead of hoping that they're going to search for answers to the questions that you typically get, you want to be able to point them in the right direction of the content that answers those questions, so they can still feel like they're doing research on their own, but you and your sales team are just simply nudging them in that direction. This is why it's important that all your video content, or just content in general, even if it's entertaining, has to provide some information and answer questions subtly. You can do it very direct if you want, but it's even better if you do it in a subtle way. This way, you can answer questions from different decision makers in one piece of content instead of creating different pieces of video content for different decision makers. Because certain videos might be seen by the wrong decision makers, it can affect the algorithm, it can affect the audience, etc. Even better to be subtle and answer those questions within the video themselves so that it can apply to everyone when they're watching it, and each individual person will have a question answered when watching that video. Now, short form content also helps you shorten your sales cycle, because with short form content, you're able to get reach and virality. It helps you build an audience. It helps you establish a level of social proof that no other business has right now. So you want to create short form content that hooks people in, educates them, offers some value, and subtly answers questions. Short form content pieces get attention fast. That's the point of them, to get virality, to get reach. So typically, a decision maker is going to come across your short form piece of content before you send them an email or before you send them a DM. Or more likely, they're going to get an email from you or a DM from your sales team totally ignore it, and then later on, the algorithm is going to push a short form video to them and they're going to pay some kind of attention to it. Because people prefer video content over a DM or an email any day of the week. It's non-intrusive and it's natural. The places that you want to put your short form content depends on where your ideal audience is. Most people that I speak to who are business owners want to sell to the C-suite. They want to sell to the owners of the companies. And for some reason, they always think that these C-suite level decision makers don't use social media, except LinkedIn. They always tell me that they don't use Facebook, they don't use Instagram, they don't use TikTok. Now that may very well be the case, but every business owner I've ever worked with uses all these social media platforms. If you use them, it's very likely that other decision makers do. So your content is going to shine everywhere that you put it. The beauty of a short form video is that you can put it on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and it's just the same video published across different platforms. This enables you to build an audience across different channels. So wherever your ideal customer searches for you, they're going to see that you have an audience. They're going to be able to see your content, which will subtly sell them on your service over time. And so this works kind of like a circle, right? The more videos and content you create, the more people will see your videos and content, the more likes, subscribers, and engagement you get, the more traffic, the more leads, the more sales, which results in even more videos because you get questions throughout that buyer journey, throughout that sales cycle. And those videos answer other questions until eventually you've got video content that answers almost all the questions that you typically get. The reason why most people take so long to buy from you is because there are questions that are left unanswered. Sometimes it's a question they don't even formulate in their own head yet. It's something that is holding them back. They won't voice it to you necessarily. So you have to try and uncover what those questions are and create content that answers those questions. There are real world examples of these flywheels right in front of you. Look at any big influencer that you follow. The Alex Hormozis, the Gary V's. You can even look at some of the big businesses that don't have a face to the brand. They've got tons of content, whether it's written, whether it's on video, whatever the content medium is, they have tons of it so that you can do your own research before you actually buy from them, before you actually engage with anyone from their team. So if you want to be a successful company, if you want to shorten your sales cycle, you have to do that. You have to create content that shows up at different parts of the buyer journey. This works for practically anyone. We work with clients in the B2B space most of the time, but this can work with B2C. It can work at the enterprise level. This works for literally anyone. It's a timeless strategy because you're creating content that attracts more people and it compounds over time. If you make one video on YouTube and you just leave it there, nothing's going to happen. Maybe it will accumulate views over a long period of time. What if you made 100 videos or 365 videos, one video every day this year, and you put them on YouTube and you left them on YouTube forever? Instead of having one video accumulate one view a day, you have 365 videos accumulating one view per day. And that's a very conservative number. Obviously, most of those videos are going to get more than one view a day. So this is how it compounds over time. And there's a measurable impact, therefore, on your sales cycle. Because most of this content will be found by people before your sales team ever reaches out to them. And so this is how you generate a heap of inbound leads. And an inbound lead is someone that is ready to go. They're usually ready to buy because they've done their research. And this is how you shorten your sales cycle. So the secret is to create content at every step of the buyer journey. Like I've said 1,000 times already on this video. The secret is to show up consistently every day, if possible, multiple times a day. The secret is to make sure every video is both informative and entertaining and answers typical questions that a decision maker might have or typically ask you before they actually buy. And sometimes you won't actually be asked the questions that's on the tip of their tongue because they can't even formulate it in their head. So you have to address any reasons why someone might not buy from you. And you can see this from the B2C world or just the influencer space. People that go on YouTube and start creating video content always suck. They never do well early on. But the ones that don't give up and continue to create content, eventually it's like a snowball that just goes down a hill, it just keeps rolling and rolling, getting bigger and bigger. This is what video content looks like the more you make of it. Because unlike blog articles, unlike posting on LinkedIn every day, your videos will remain on these platforms forever, getting search traffic and accumulating views, leads and sales forever as long as you don't take those videos down. Whereas if you post on LinkedIn today, usually in a few days' time, it's not going to show up on anyone's profile anymore. It won't be on anyone's home feed. I think I logged into LinkedIn today and I saw something that was posted 2 weeks ago. But if I log onto YouTube right now, there will be a video that was posted 6 years ago that is still trending. And this is the power of a marketing flywheel, or in this case, a video flywheel. So you have to ask yourself, what's actually stopping you from taking action? Why can't you shorten your sales cycle? Why are you not creating enough video content or content in general? The reason for that is simple. Most people do not have the time to do it. They do not like presenting on camera. They do not feel like they are good communicators. They don't like the way they look on camera, or they just want to focus on other things that they enjoy and they don't want to be a content creator. Whatever your reason is for not creating more video content this year, it can be solved with AI, which is exactly what we do at Video CEOs. So if you have any questions about this video, let me know in the comments below. Like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and I'll see you in the next one.